Most women think men choose their dream woman the same way people pick the best-looking item on a menu. The prettiest face walks in. Dramatic music starts playing in his brain. Angels begin singing. And suddenly, he's emotionally devoted forever. But that's not actually how the male brain works. In fact, some of the women men become the most emotionally obsessed with are not the women they originally expected to fall for at all. And that's the part nobody talks about because a man's brain secretly decides whether you're dream woman material long before he consciously understands why. Sometimes even he can't explain it. That's why men say things like, "Bro, there's just something about her." Meanwhile, his nervous system has already started acting ridiculous. He's smiling at text messages like a teenager. Random songs suddenly remind him of her. He's staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m., replaying one conversation she barely remembers having. It's embarrassing, honestly. And no, it's not just about beauty. Before the comment section explodes, yes, physical attraction matters to men. Obviously, men are not wandering around emotionally blind, falling in love with silhouettes and personality quizzes. Looks get attention, but attention and emotional attachment are two completely different things. If beauty alone created deep love, then every attractive woman would automatically keep every man emotionally loyal forever. But that's not reality. Men leave beautiful women all the time. Men emotionally obsess over imperfect women all the time. And sometimes a woman who isn't even his normal type somehow completely hijacks his brain like an emotional hacker breaking into government files. Why? Because the male brain secretly chooses women based on emotional experience, not just visual attraction. Here's the first thing most women misunderstand about men. Men do not emotionally attach to perfection. They emotionally attach to emotional impact. And those are not the same thing. A woman can look flawless and still leave no deep emotional imprint on a man's mind. Meanwhile, another woman who might not look perfect by social media standards somehow stays in his thoughts for years. Why? Because she made him feel something emotionally powerful. Men remember emotional experiences more than polished perfection. The woman he remembers most is usually not the woman who felt the most rehearsed. It's the woman who felt emotionally real. Maybe she laughed in a weird way that caught him off guard. Maybe she challenged him playfully instead of constantly trying to impress him. Maybe she made him feel calm in a way he wasn't expecting. Maybe she looked at him during a vulnerable moment without making him feel weak for it. Those moments matter more than most women realize. Ironically, some women try so hard to become perfect that they accidentally become emotionally distant. Everything feels overly calculated. Every reaction feels controlled. Every conversation feels filtered through a mental PR team. And men can sense that. A woman who feels too emotionally polished often becomes harder to connect with deeply because men don't emotionally bond strongest with women who feel flawless. They bond strongest with women who feel emotionally alive. And this leads to something most dating advice completely ignores. Men secretly crave emotional safety far more than they admit. Society constantly tells men they need to be strong, confident, successful, emotionally controlled, financially stable, mentally tough, and somehow capable of fixing Wi-Fi problems without becoming enraged demons. Most men spend a huge part of their lives feeling pressure. Pressure to succeed, pressure to provide, pressure to perform, pressure to never look weak. So when a man meets a woman who emotionally feels safe, his nervous system notices immediately. And emotional safety does not mean boring. It does not mean weak. It does not mean becoming a human doormat who agrees with everything he says, including his absolutely terrible sports opinions. Emotional safety means he feels emotionally accepted around you. He feels like he can breathe around you. He feels like he doesn't constantly need to perform to maintain your respect. This is one of the hidden questions the male brain secretly asks in relationships. Can I relax around her? Can I fail around her? Can I be emotionally human around her? Because some women unintentionally make men feel emotionally evaluated all the time. Every mistake becomes a lecture. Every disagreement becomes emotional combat. Every vulnerable moment feels dangerous. Over time, the male brain starts associating that woman with tension instead of peace. Meanwhile, another woman may not even realize what she's doing differently. She simply creates emotional warmth. He feels calmer around her, more open around her, more mentally relaxed around her. And that feeling becomes addictive to men. In fact, many men become emotionally attached to peace before they become emotionally attached to beauty. Now, here's where things get interesting. Emotional safety alone is not enough to make a man obsessed. Safety creates comfort, but emotional stimulation creates emotional fascination. The male brain loves emotional discovery. Men become deeply attached to women who make them feel emotionally alive. And no, this does not mean being toxic or manipulative. Social media keeps confusing emotional excitement with emotional damage, which explains approximately 73% of modern dating disasters. What men actually crave is emotional depth mixed with unpredictability. A woman who has her own personality, her own spark, her own emotional energy. A woman who surprises him mentally. A woman who makes conversations feel alive instead of painfully repetitive. Because the male brain gets bored when it completely solves someone too quickly. Mystery creates curiosity. Curiosity creates emotional focus. Emotional focus creates attachment. This is why some women become unforgettable without even trying that hard. She's playful one moment, emotionally deep the next. She says unexpected things. She introduces emotional variety into his life. And suddenly his brain starts paying extra attention because emotionally she feels stimulating. A lot of women think attraction grows through constant validation, but many times attraction grows through emotional discovery. Men emotionally attach strongest when they continue uncovering new emotional layers in a woman over time. And here's something even stranger. Sometimes a man's dream woman doesn't even match his original type. You've seen this happen before. A man swears he only dates one kind of woman. Then suddenly he falls deeply for someone completely different and starts acting emotionally confused. His friends are shocked. He's shocked. Even his gym playlist changes because emotional connection overrides surface preferences more often than men realize. Now, here's the deepest part of all. Most men secretly fear feeling insignificant. They rarely say it directly because most men would rather fight a bear than openly discuss emotional insecurity. But underneath confidence and ego, many men secretly wonder, am I enough? Enough financially? Enough emotionally? Enough socially? Enough as a man? And this is exactly why some women become unforgettable to men. Because certain women make men feel deeply valuable, not through fake compliments, not through worship, not through desperation, but through genuine respect, appreciation, and belief in who he is beneath the surface. When a woman notices a man's effort, his intentions, his growth, his struggles, and still respects him, something powerful happens psychologically. His brain starts associating her with emotional reward. He feels stronger around her, more motivated around her, more confident around her. Men emotionally attach hard to women who make them feel emotionally expanded instead of emotionally diminished. This is why some men stay emotionally stuck on one woman for years. It wasn't necessarily because she was the most beautiful woman he ever met. It's because she made him feel like the best version of himself. That feeling is unbelievably powerful. A woman becomes unforgettable when she makes a man feel bigger around her, not smaller. And now we get to the biggest secret of all. Men don't just choose women. They choose who they become around those women. That's the real reason a man's brain secretly chooses his dream woman. Around some women, a man feels anxious, judged, emotionally drained, or restricted. Around others, he feels confident, calm, respected, inspired, playful, and emotionally alive. And the male brain quietly pays attention to this constantly because deep down, a man's dream woman is usually the woman who unlocks the version of himself he secretly wants to become. Maybe she inspires ambition in him. Maybe she makes him emotionally softer in a healthy way. Maybe she makes him feel more confident socially. Maybe she brings peace into his chaotic mind. Maybe she believes in him during moments when even he struggles to believe in himself. And suddenly, his brain starts linking her presence with emotional growth. This is why some men never fully emotionally recover from one specific woman. She changed the way he emotionally experienced himself. She made him feel different internally. And once someone changes your emotional identity, forgetting them becomes incredibly difficult. That's why the woman men obsess over is rarely just the most physically attractive woman in the room. She's usually the woman who feels like excitement without chaos, peace without boredom, respect without pressure, connection without performance. She's the woman who makes him feel emotionally safe while still making him feel emotionally alive. And that combination is incredibly rare. So the next time you wonder why certain women become unforgettable to men, remember this. A man's dream woman is not built in a mirror. She's built inside his nervous system. And once you understand that, male psychology suddenly starts making a whole lot more sense. So, no, a man's brain doesn't secretly choose his dream woman based on perfection alone. It chooses the woman who changes the way he emotionally experiences life. The woman who feels like peace after pressure, excitement without chaos, and connection without performance. And once a woman makes a man feel emotionally alive while still feeling emotionally safe, she becomes very hard to forget. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment below which part surprised you the most. And trust me, once you start understanding male psychology at this level, you'll never look at attraction the same way.